welcome to my video on the new armor update, and I'm also going to talk a lot, because obviously it's like a 20-minute video, talk a lot about my opinion about updates in general, and basically kind of my opinion on why I don't think they're as bad as a lot of people say they are, and where I think a lot of the updates come from. It's kind of confusing, so if you have any questions about it, post in the comments, I'll be sure to answer them. But yeah, basically the first few minutes is just me talking about the armor, and then the rest is just my opinion. So you don't have to watch the video, it's more just to listen to. So as you guys all know, they just released the update for armor, and I think it looks rather epic. That's for Rock Armor 3, which as you can tell looks quite cool. Fighter torso looks pretty sick. They said they updated maybe they just said initiate, not pro. I think they said proselyte. Interesting. I only have the ruined plate body and helm. I don't have the legs, but that looks pretty sick, I have to admit. Blue D-hide, that looks awesome. Dragon fire shield, that looks epic. I like that look. Now, there's a different picture for the deflector. In one of the pictures, it's not there though, so interesting. It's a new melee void, which also looks pretty cool. Mage. Yeah, I don't have range, unfortunately. I think that, oh, it changes the armor. Oh, never mind, it doesn't. Okay, and then like full Slayer helm. Blah blah blah. That's interesting. Black D-hide. This is just basically all the armor I happen to have in my bank, so that's interesting. I think it looks kind of cool, actually. I really like this update. And speaking of me liking this update versus other people not, oh, there's the that's not helm. Whoa, that's different. Oh, they did not update the Tokar Cal, it looks like. As you can see, it just looks the same. So, but basically, yesterday I was talking to one of my friends online about updates and stuff like that, and he said basically that like he hates it when they update the game because it seems pointless, is basically what it came down to. And I really disagree with that sentiment overall, and I'd kind of like to explain why. So basically, let me just start at the beginning so that I don't get confused. So when people go back, they kind of say that the game's been kind of going downhill since about 2006. It's kind of the start date with the removal of the wilderness, stuff like that. And first of all, to start off there, I disagree. I don't think the game has been going downhill as much as people do say it. And I honestly believe that people have a tendency to remember kind of like the old style of stuff more than the new style. Like kind of like, and not remember the old style, more romanticize the old style. They think it's better. And whether that's true or not is a completely different issue. But personally, I don't think it's necessarily true. Okay. And the reason I don't think it's true is basically when you think about all the updates they've made, the game really has improved. And yeah, okay, they removed the wilderness. They kind of had to at the time. They weren't being given a lot of options or a lot of problems in the game. And since then, they've reinstated the wilderness. Now, what I find funny is people accuse them of trying to make money because they reinstated the wilderness. First of all, they're a company. They are trying to make money. And when I really think about it, I can't think of a single update that doesn't make money for them. You might think, well, that's not true. I mean, there's some really good updates out there. Yeah, there's really good updates. That doesn't mean they don't make money. And think about it. Next makes money. It makes people keep playing. It makes people want to keep playing. Fight Kiln, same thing, makes money. And because of that, I honestly believe, really when you look at it, Jagex, all they do is make money. That's what their goal is. It's a company. I mean, if I was running a company, it's not a charity. They're not just trying to lose money. So I really hope you guys understand that it is a company. They're trying to make money. Now there are updates, I admit, that are less for making people happy and more for making money. Squeal of Fortune is a very good example of that. But at the end of the day, it's really just to make money and to bring more members into the game, which I think is actually a pretty good thing. I like it when more people play this game, because the more people that play this game, it's just more to go around. I think it's more fun overall. And at the end of the day, I think that's something I'd really want. Now, the other thing that people bring up a lot is since 2006, Jagex has basically been owned by investment companies. Not Mark Gerhard and things like that, but other people from outside. And there's kind of an accusation there that it's like these investment companies, they don't know about Jagex. They don't know about like the community. They don't understand the game. And that's something else I really disagree with. As an investor, people only invest in companies that they know about, basically. Now, I mean, they know the business side of it. They also kind of understand the kind of like the marketing, like what the design is. So, like, you wouldn't. Basically, what I'm saying is, an investor doesn't just look at the paper and say, okay, yeah, you guys make X amount, and because you make X amount, I'll invest this amount. Because they care about more than that. They care about where the company's probably going to go. And the only reason to invest in a company is to make a long-term profit. They're not trying to make a very short-term, like, instantaneous profit. They're trying to make, 5 years down the road. They're trying to make, money then, not necessarily now. Because, when you invest in a company, you pay money into it. So you're trying to build the company, grow the company, make it more valuable. And really the way to do that, first of all, is release good updates. That's the first way to do it. And somebody knows that as an investor coming in. That if they'd never update this game, an investor would know this game would fall apart and they'd lose money off of it. So I'm saying is it's in an investment company's best interest to continue updating and improving the game. Now, when an investment company comes in, though, that's kind of where I was going beforehand. What they also look at is, as I was saying, where the company's probably going to go. You wouldn't invest, millions and millions of dollars in a VHS company. Why would you invest in a VHS company today? There's absolutely no point. I mean, VHS companies are basically gone. As far as I know, I don't even know of VHS companies that still exist. Most of them converted to DVD. The only real reason to invest in a VHS company is if they're converting to DVDs and, Blu-rays and things like that that are going to make more money in the future. But right now, you wouldn't invest in a VHS company. Ever. Nobody would. Because they're going to be losing money. Even if they have a income, like profitable income stream right now, in a year, they're going to start losing money. And an investor knows that. So basically what I'm saying is an investor knows the market they're going into. So they wouldn't invest in Jagex if they didn't think Jagex could last a while. They're not trying to leech money out of Jagex. That's not their goal. Their goal is to make Jagex more profitable. Now, yes, occasionally updates will have to come out where things like the Squeal of Fortune, where it is an update pretty much solely to make more money, to bring more money in. But at the end of the day, they need that, because when they have more money, they can release better updates. And, basically, I was having this conversation with my friend yesterday, and basically said, look at the Armored update. It's probably the least worthwhile update. He didn't like that update. Now, I really don't agree with that, because when people talk about RuneScape. They say, "Oh, that's such an old game," or "I used to play that, but the graphics sucked," or whatever. I don't think the graphics suck now. I mean, I just showed you guys the armor. It's amazing. And it's being constantly improved. And I think that's something that Jagex really needed to focus on, because without that kind of update, it really makes the game feel old, which makes people quit. And I know some people quit over updates like this, and I don't get why. I don't know why you would quit over an update that improved graphics. I mean, yeah, it makes you a little bit confused for a little while, but you'll get used to the change. If you just try to get used to it, you will get used to it. I still have people that say, like, "Oh, I just hit a 30," when they mean they hit a 300. And it's because they're not trying to get used to the change. They're just being they're being resistant to the change is the problem. And if they try to be resistant to the change, then of course they're not going to like it. But if they try to accept the change, try to get used to it, try to accommodate it into their life, then they'll get really used to it really fast, and it will be like it was beforehand. Pouch is degraded. So, and they're specifically talking about, hit points and prayer there, 30, whatever, 30 this, but I really do think that updates like that are necessary to keep the game going. Other updates that people often talk about as being bad updates since 2006, damage absorption. I really disagree with people that don't like damage absorption. Damage absorption is so helpful to the game. It was such a necessary update, because it makes, really makes it so that two armors are different. Yeah, I mean, I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say there, that really it's like, you have one armor that's like, okay, it's this, another armor that's, okay, good, but when you have the both together, it makes it's just much more different, that you can tell the difference a lot better. One makes it much more worthwhile, and it also makes it so that they can have higher hitting creatures without actually being higher hitting. I mean, I can make, they can make a Jad that can hit, oh, I didn't repair my pouch, concentrate too much on commentary. I can make two armors that are very different, or I can make it something that hits a lot higher, like a 1500 with Ganodermic, because Ganodermic will absorb enough that it wouldn't one-hit somebody wearing Ganodermic. So it's specifically designed for use with Ganodermic, or something like that. So, yeah, and the other thing people often say is, "Oh my gosh, the game's becoming easier." Of course, the game is becoming easier. Whenever you have a progression of a game, it's going to become easier. You can't release a better item without it making older game content easier. It's just not possible. That'd be like saying, like, basically that'd be the only way to make it so it wouldn't become easier would be have Jagex release the best items. Basically, they released Dungeoneering with Chaotix in RuneScape Classic, and they said that's the best, and they didn't have bronze or anything. And today when they released Dungeoneering, they released a bronze longsword, because that would make tons of sense. That'd just be great for the game, I think. See, that's the problem with that kind of logic. It doesn't work. You have to have that progression of a game to really make it worthwhile to play. So, basically what I'm saying is, you need that progression. You can't have a game that gets constantly harder. You can't make it so that Nomad just gets harder and harder as the game goes along. That wouldn't make sense. And, that'd be like, I don't know, I have 99 strength, but I can't hit as hard as when I have 1 strength. It just doesn't work. So that progression of the game is necessary. And yeah, it makes the game easier, but then it also makes it so they can release harder content. I mean, supposedly the Queen Black Dragon and the Calfight King and things like that are going to come out. Next came out last year, the Fight Kiln. And even though the Fight Kiln was not as difficult as many people thought it might be, that was still a very difficult update. I mean, I've done it obviously, and it's not easy. One thing I do wish for the Fight Kiln was they had kind of come up with new creatures that would hit high. Like, when I really looked at the Fight Kiln, it was like, well, it's really just the fight cave monsters. Some of them change around a bit, hit a little bit harder, can, do some damage through prayer. And then, like, a new boss and a few new creatures. And so it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is completely new. It was really just the same thing, just a little bit more difficult. And because of that, I would say it's not a terribly difficult update, but at the same time, it's because we've also gotten very used to the combat style that Runescape can offer. I mean, what can Jagex really do to change the combat style? They'd have to basically rework a very large portion of the game to make a new combat style that was actually more difficult. So, I guess my point is that even though Jagex sometimes, is kind of going away from the, I don't want to collect the armor or like the bosses and difficulty stuff. Even though Jagex has released a lot of updates that maybe don't seem worthwhile to you, often they seem worthwhile to somebody. And at the end of the day, they're designed to make Jagex money. And because Jagex makes money, we have this game we can play. And clearly, I play it a lot. A lot of other people play it quite a bit. And the reason people play it quite a bit is because it's fun. And yeah, a few updates you might not like. But if they keep making Jagex money, Jagex stays in business and they can keep making more updates. And even if you only like half the updates that Jagex makes, that's still quite a few. And that's still like 2 updates a month that you like. And still enough that I would consider it very worthwhile to keep playing. And that's just kind of my opinion on a lot of this stuff. That a lot of the opinion that Jagex releases bad updates, it's not really bad updates. They're trying to improve the game for a future update, for an update that will make them a little bit more money. You're trying to make it more possible to release those future updates, or they're just trying to make the game look more modern, like the update today was. And so that's just kind of my opinion on a lot of that stuff, and I hope you can respect it. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. I read all the comments, and I'd be happy to answer all those questions. Sorry, somebody started talking to me. But yeah, I'd be happy to answer all those questions. I know I kind of get confusing when I talk, because sometimes it doesn't flow. I'm just kind of talking kind of what I'm thinking. I had sort of an outline, but I didn't follow it very well at all. But when I'm typing, it's a lot easier for me to explain what I'm trying to say. So if you have any questions, post them in the comments, and I failed there again. And I will be happy to argue with you about anything. You can also message me in game. The person that messaged me that I was talking about earlier, he's one of my subscribers. So as you can see, my friends is pretty much always on. Sometimes I'll be off if I'm busy making video, or I just really don't want to be disturbed at that point, or I'm just tired and don't feel like talking, but whatever it is. Once again, see, this is what I disagree with. And so I really hope I explained why I think these updates are necessary, why I think, generally speaking, Jagex is doing the right thing. I mean, they're just trying to make money, and I think at the end of the day, they're doing a pretty good job, and why investment companies aren't really that bad. So I do hope you'd post if you have any questions, and I will see you Thursday with a new achievement diary. As you can see, quite a bit of rune crafting, so hopefully that will be done. But thanks for watching.